At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Kelly Clarkson with Wayfair. My favorite thing about the holidays? Decking out my whole house. It's not a competition, but if it was, well, I'd win the season with Wayfair. Outdoor inflatable Santa? Got it on Wayfair. Trees, lights, and ornaments? Wayfair. Hosting must-haves like dining sets, beds, sheets, and towels? Wayfair. For everything in your style delivered with fast and free shipping, visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app to win the season. But again, it's not a competition.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
When your therapist won't take your calls anymore, there's always The Last Show with David Cooper.
Grief. It can hit you in unexpected ways. It is Therapy Thursdays on a Wednesday. I am joined by social worker and therapist Gary Direnfeld, who lost his mother 1 year ago, about the anniversary, I believe, coming later in the month. Gary, welcome to the show.
Good to be with you. You know, this is a topic that everyone has to grapple with at some point in their lives.
That is exactly what our foreign correspondent in London, England, Tony Five, said yesterday. He recently lost one of his closest colleagues, and it has hit him, I believe, in unexpected ways. Tony, welcome back to the show to continue the chat from yesterday.
Hi, David. Yeah, part two, which is quite interesting. And as Gary said, I am grappling with it. Not only a very, very close colleague, he was a mentor to me. I'd known him for many years. And just to recap, Saturday just gone, we had spoken in the morning. I had made him howl with laughter. He was absolutely loving life. And this guy, he had lost his dog, his mum, his dad, suffered with 2 bouts of very aggressive cancer, and his mother-in-law, all within 18 months. So when we spoke, he was just about to go to a wonderful holiday with his beloved wife. He was really looking forward to it, full of life. And that was a Saturday morning. He died of a massive heart attack on the Sunday morning. And my calendar came up today because we were booked for dinner tomorrow night. And so, yeah, I am struggling at the moment. I find it very difficult just to comprehend. And yeah, that's kind of where I am at the moment, David and Gary.
Wow. It's almost overwhelming to hear that. Tony, firstly, my heart goes out to you. One of the words you used to describe the relationship was mentor. That is almost a parental kind of relationship. I feel how this has touched you in a very personal way. And I also hear how in a real way, the rug has been pulled out from beneath you so quickly, so without warning, so without any expectation. This is a not just a big loss, but so sudden. So sudden.
I mean, speaking about your mum, I know she was in triple figures, right?
Yeah. She was 100.5.
Wow. And as much as you would never want it to happen, there's a sort of expectation, you can't live forever.
We can see it. We know she's not going to last forever.
But I can't cope. And it reminds me of when I was in my deepest depression, the not being able to understand it, to not being able to comprehend it, that he's here yesterday and gone tomorrow. And logically and tangibly, of course, I believe it, just like I can hit a keyboard or talk to David. And it then makes me question everything. It makes me question, I talk to David every single day. And what if tomorrow he's just not there? And what would I do? And then it becomes my mum. And then the rumination turned into a huge cycle of all these people that are so close to me, and I'm going to lose it, which is natural, right? It's a natural part of life.
Well, grief doesn't follow a specific path. Like, there is no learning curve, which is to say, if you've grieved before, you don't get better at it, and it's not necessarily going to follow the same path as it did the last time you had a major loss. And so new feelings coming up, you mentioned yesterday really feeling it in your body for the first time. That you shouldn't I mean, it is surprising to go through new forms of it later in life than you might have when you were younger. But it shouldn't be surprising that it's turning into something you've never experienced before.
And the sadness is overwhelming, but it's also, maybe it was wrong of me to think that this guy deserved a better life. He deserved a little bit longer, but there's no correlation to that. Like the worst people in the world can live forever and the best people in the world can die as a baby. I get that chaos, right, Gary?
One of the hardest things for people, humans, to grapple with is uncertainty. And life is full of it. And, some people will say, hey, there's a grand plan. I personally don't. I just look and say all of life can be unpredictable, uncertain. Yet, as humans, we love our certainty. We love our predictability.
And patterns, right? The patterns. If you're good, you'll be great. If you're bad, you'll be this. And I've come out of it, and it sounds horrible, but I've gone through the phase. Like, for example, what's the point? Like, why do this? Why do that? And I don't want to go down that slippery slope to just not caring. And I can see it, and I don't want to do that,
Right. But I want to push back on a couple of things that you said, and by asking these couple of questions. And one is, why should you cope? Why should you understand it? Some things we don't cope with. We have to manage. We have to come through, hopefully, some other side. And some things we will never understand. That's the nature of the universe. And so we're reminded of, to some degree, our insignificance, and it raises our existential angst. And I hear that those buttons have been pressed for you, Tony.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And quite frankly, that makes you human. It makes you normal. And being human, being normal, isn't always pleasant.
Oh, it's difficult. Good Lord, just being a human is consuming. It takes up 22 hours of my day.
What are you doing for those other two? That's the real question.
Like a dog, really, just running around.
But that's it. We cope the best we can, and sometimes we don't. And so the degree to which, what's the AA serenity prayer?
Oh, God give me the accept, to accept the things I can and to not the things I can't. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that does, even if you take away the prayer element of it, it's very true, right?
I'm the alcoholic here. It's God grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
And there we are. And so, that wisdom to know the difference is also wisdom to recognize and appreciate that we have a tiny place in the universe, and all we can do is seek to be the best version of ourselves at any particular point in time. And being the best version of ourselves at any particular point in time doesn't mean we're a good version. We're just striving. And Tony, you're in that place right now where what doesn't make sense is front and center for you.
Absolutely.
This idea that previous grief, previous loss somehow makes sense and you're at peace with it now, when the truth is it never really made sense. New loss can reopen old wounds and compound them and swirl around and make things more difficult when you didn't think it would happen. That's something that's happened to me, at least. It can compound. And there's no easy way out of it, as I sort of ramble on about this.
And I think my emotional immunity is low. I heard that expression recently, And I found it fascinating. Like, people talk about immunity in the physical sense, but my emotional immunity is low, and I'm just worried. And I think talking to you and, I've had some lovely messages from listeners, talking about their own sort of experiences has helped.
We're not alone. I'm grieving, you're grieving. We don't wish it on David, but everyone's day comes. And we have to find help in our camaraderie and companionship.
And Doug.
Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
We are having kind of a tough but interesting conversation about grief here with Gary Direnfeld, a therapist. It is Therapy Thursdays on a Wednesday. And I think what we've arrived at here is, can grief transform? Can it hit differently when you're at a different age? Gary, welcome back to the show.
You want to bet, to the young child, it's incomprehensible to any of us. Having said that, to the young child, that sense of loss that a person isn't returning, it's, where did they go? Like, there's a magicalness as well to the loss. And I suppose that, look, maybe that's true of me today as a 69-year-old man missing his 100-year-old mother. Yet it strikes differently at different ages. And when we consider what is the age of the person whom we've lost, are they, in a sense, too young? What is our relationship to them? When a child predeceases a parent, that is a particular kind of loss. A miscarriage is a loss. The capacity to conceive or not be able to conceive is a loss.
Dare I say divorce is also a loss?
Divorce is a loss. Having to leave one's country of origin to immigrate for reasons beyond our control, loss. So there are multiple things for which we can grieve. They will hit us all differently. What is common is, for most, being thrown into that tailspin and questioning our existence.
Now I just am thinking of myself with the label as divorced immigrant. But let's introduce Tony Five, our foreign correspondent, who recently lost a friend. We are chatting about grief. Tony, welcome back to the show as well.
Hi, David. Yeah, listening to you guys, it's true. I lost a brother at a very young age. I was 14. He was double my age, and, he was a qualified doctor, and he was, again, a mentor, someone I looked up to. He's more like a father figure than an older brother. And I guess this has kind of clicked to me. So losing him, he had a very long, protracted, painful illness. Losing him has made me really fear change. In as much as if I go down to my hometown and I see shops have gone or the road signs have changed, I really find a sense of loss. It really affects me, badly, where it's ridiculous. To me, I'm like, well, there's a shop that's been at the top of my road for so many years and it's gone and it's become a chain store, whatever. I really feel it. I really feel that deeply, that it kind of just clicked now when you guys were talking about it. David had that loss, the grief in as much as his marriage. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It can be anything. Grief can come in, a variety of forms, I guess.
That's kind of an unexpected way that grief can hit someone. You lost your brother young, and then change around you, like a changing of a road sign, a shop closing, could make it hit in like new and creative and small ways. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
part of what we're talking about.
Yeah, even the sillier things like a procedure, like, a routine, seeing somebody at the same time every day, like you, David, and it just changes suddenly, or, slots change, or the way things I'm used to change, like seeing the same person every week, it can really affect me. It can really knock me. That's why, losing my dog recently, because I changed a whole routine around him, that threw me, that really threw me as well.
Yes. And it doesn't escape me that we're having this conversation at a particular time of year, the holidays, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever holiday one observed observes. This is when we often feel more acutely the loss of a family member, loved one, friend, if we would have spent time in their company at this time of year. And there are going to be many listeners for whom there'll be an empty chair.
Mm-hmm.
An empty chair. And again, it tugs on our existential heartstrings. Who am I? Where am I? What am I? What are we? And we try to make sense out of things that, in a sense, are beyond my pay grade. Some do it through their faith, and
Yes.
that brings them solace, and that is fine. There are others, like myself, I'm not practicing of my faith. It doesn't bring me solace. Yet, for whatever reasons, me personally, somehow or other, I can accept that loss is part of life and part of the human condition. But, Tony, you are a much younger man than I. This loss is fresh for you. It was a significant loss, huge. And to be reeling from it is okay. We just want to make sure that you can manage as you're reeling through this.
I mean, going back through the therapies I've had and the way people have spoke to me, they're always called it the child within. This child is screaming to get out of you and is never matured, even though your body matures and your brain kind of matures in a way. A lot of people, a lot of therapists have said that, when you have a loss so young, you never truly get over it. It masks itself with life as you just get older. This has kind of brought it back to the surface again. And many people who I've told this, you get some people who have got strong faith, like my mum, like some friends, some older friends, and they say to you, it's all God's plan, or, it was meant to be. And it frustrates me, guys. Oh my God. I get so annoyed by it.
I get it, because that belief may not be true for you, but those sorts of and it's not true for me, but those beliefs provide other people comfort. And, you have to take a deep breath and just empathize with that.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm happy for them because they have a solution that helps them get through it, right? They're like, no, this is the way it's meant to be. And if you dive deeper, why do kids get cancer? Oh, it's in God's plan. Then you can tear it apart. But then you're round in a circle because you can never prove it, and you just sort of go on. And my background's engineering, mathematics, that sort of thing. And I want an answer. And I have to kind of sit with the fact that I will not get an answer. And there's no point me getting angry with what people say. Maybe I'm slightly envious that they have that solace and I don't.
Well, I see grief as being somewhat like a boil. The poison has to come out. And in our time together here today, I am not trying to foist or thrust any particular belief upon you, Tony, and I think you realize that. And hopefully, if I've done anything in our conversation, it was to listen to you respectfully and allow the poison of that boil to escape.
Gotta lance the boil. I think sometimes listening just helps, right? I mean, there are no answers, at least in my opinion, to some of these deep, tough questions. But just asking them, being heard asking them is an important part of the process.
Yeah, the two ways is letting it out and being listened to, letting it out of the system and actually having somebody, an audience to listen to. And I'm very grateful to you both and the listeners that I have a platform to be able to do that. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here, talking to my couch.
Yeah. So, to those folks listening in who may be wondering how to support someone in grief, it is, as Tony just said, it's simply being heard. It's being able to be a witness to their pain and to respect it.
Gary, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
And Tony Five, thanks for being here as well, buddy, and sharing your story.
Thank you very much, guys. You take care.
There are streaming services, and then there's Stack TV. What you want, when you want it. Action, comedy, drama, reality, all when you want it. Dive into Rick and Morty's latest season. Cast off with new seasons of Survivor and The Curse of Oak Island. Or stream binge-worthy gems like The Paper and All Her Fault. All when you want it. This fall, Stack TV has what you want, when you want it. Visit stacktv.ca for more information and start your free trial.